one and all present here. I am Dr. Deepika, final year pediatric postgraduate from Sri Ramchandra Institute of Higher Education and Research, and I am presenting this case under the guidance of Dr. Ranjith Kumar M, pediatric neurologist, Ramchandra Hospital. This is a child from Unit 4 under Dr. Saji James. I would like to sincerely thank Dr. Padmasini ma'am, Unit 1, for timely referral, which was very crucial in the management of this child. Here, I present an interesting case of a toddler whose life has completely changed after a revolutionary surgery performed for the first time in our hospital. So this case presentation highlights the role of a multidisciplinary team effort in taking care of the finer aspects of surgery. Epileptic encephalopathies are a group of neurologically devastating disorders related to uncontrolled ictal and interictal epileptic activity with a poor prognosis. Despite the number of pharmacological options available for the treatment of epilepsy, many of these children are still drug resistant. For these children with uncontrolled epilepsy, motor and neuropsychological deterioration is common. So to prevent these secondary consequences, surgery is often considered as either a curative or a palliative option. So this is a story of a 5-year-old child from West Bengal who was developmentally normal till about 8 months of age, following which she started having multiple head drops. Anxious parents rushed to the local hospital for further management, and the child was started on anti-epileptic drugs. Following a period of brief remission, the child again started having seizures, and also it was associated with worsening head drops and significant cognitive and speech delay. This is when the child was referred to SRMC for further management. So this is a firstborn child out of a non-consanguineous marriage. Child has behavioral and sleep issues. On examination, there was no dysmorphism or neurocutaneous markers. However, the child had a wide-based and unsteady gait. Vision and hearing was normal. So the child was on multiple anti-epileptic drugs with optimal dosage and good compliance, but still no response. Clearly, she fits into the category of drug-resistant or intractable epilepsy and requires non-pharmacological intervention to achieve seizure freedom. So she was on all of these anti-epileptic drugs. So this video shows the multiple head drops. Also to be focused here is the anxious look on the father's face with each drop attack. MRI brain done at 1 year of age in West Bengal shows areas of cortical shrinking with loss of normal sulcal pattern in the right inferior temporal lobe with areas of focal hyperintensity. So these are the axial, coronal, and the sagittal sections which reveal a bigger focal cystic lesions with hyperintensity suggestive of focal cortical dysplasia. So what is focal cortical dysplasia? They are a group of malformations of cortical development characterized by abnormal cortical lamination, neuronal migration, and differentiation. So it was one of the major causes of intractable focal epilepsy in childhood. So this is the MRI brain, which was done at 5 years of age, which shows loss of gray white matter delineation around the central cystic focus. So interictal EEG done showed continuous generalized spike wave discharges as seen here. So these are the different epochs of the interictal EEG. So in this epoch, we can see that the background is slowly clearing up, and what is seen here is the focal discharges arising from the right temporal lobe with focal slowing, which corresponds to the location of lesion in the MRI. So this is another epoch showing the clearing. So we went ahead doing a overnight video telemetry, which was done, and 3 habitual seizures were captured. And this is an interesting video where it connects the actual abnormal seizure event in the child with the abnormalities in the EEG. Here we can see that the child's right eye it's deviate. The eyes are deviated to the right side with head turns, and that is when the seizure activity starts, and then it is followed by the actual seizure event, which is seen by the generalized spike wave discharges. And this proves that the seizure event originated from the right temporal region. So unilateral eye blinks corresponds to ipsilateral origin of seizure activity. So ipsiversive eye deviation could be the initial clinical sign of an inferoposterior temporal lobe epilepsy. To obtain further concordant data, an 18 FDG PET scan was done in our hospital, and PET MRI co-registered images were obtained. And what is seen here in blue is the areas of hypometabolic region suggestive of an epileptogenic zone. Uh, so this child, in view of refractory seizures, not responding to medical management, and also having a significant impairment on the cognitive and the motor aspects, epilepsy surgery was planned. As a prerequisite of surgery, the developmental assessment was done using the developmental assessment of young children scale, DAISY 2. Handedness, neuropsychological battery, and language mapping should also be done ideally, but it was not done in this child, considering the age of the child. So an epilepsy surgical meet was organized, and it was decided that lesionectomy in this index case will be curative, and the child is likely to be seizure free with no functional deficit. So the parents were explained regarding the nature of the illness, role of surgery, risks and benefits, and also the rates of success and failure. So we went ahead to do a right temporal craniotomy, and which is seen in the first picture. In the second picture, what we can see is the area, that lesion which was removed, the part of brain which was removed. And in the third picture, there are ECOG leads being placed. So EEG leads which are being placed in the areas where after the lesion removal. So basically, ECOG is performed following the initial resection to assess the completeness of the resection and also to identify areas of residual epileptiform activity which may be considered for removal. So after placing this ECOG leads, still we could see some minimal EEG showing seizure activity, and hence another section of the brain was removed furthermore, and following that the EEG normalized. So the histopathology of the lesion showed it corresponded to class 2B of Parmini classification. What is seen here is the loss of laminar structure and also the presence of balloon cells. Literature search says that this subtype has an excellent prognosis post-surgery. So this is the preoperative and the postoperative CT of the child. Postoperatively, the lesion has been removed in toto, and what is seen here in black is the CSF. So we are very happy to announce that since day 1 of surgery, that this child has been seizure free. Repeat EEG done after 1 month showed no spike wave discharges. All the anti-epileptic drugs were tapered and stopped over a 6-month period. The child is interacting well with the mother, and our goal to achieve the Engel class 1 has been fulfilled thoroughly. And child is currently on occupational and speech therapy and is on regular follow-up. So this is my review of literature. Take-home message: epilepsy surgery is emerging as a curative option for surgically amenable refractory epilepsy. This is the first case of epilepsy surgery done at our institution. These are my references. I would like to sincerely thank our neurosurgery team, especially Dr. Vishwanathan, electrophysiological unit 4 team headed by Dr. Saji James, Professor Dr. Padmasini for timely referral, and PICU team, the radiology department, the PET scan unit, the neuropsychological team, the KCDO team, neuroanesthesia, neuropathology. Thanks a lot.